Hi everyone, and today I'm going to be doing a little video game review. I'm going to be reviewing Layton's Mystery Journey, Katrielle and the Millionaires Conspiracy because me being a huge fan of the Professor Layton series, I was really excited for this game. I'm going to, because it's only been out a couple of weeks, I'll let you know my thoughts on it. Right, so in this game it's a continuation of the Professor Layton series, the 6 games that were on the DS and 3DS. That had a tie-in film and a crossover with Phoenix Wright. But this game it doesn't have the Professor as the main protagonist. It has his daughter, who's called Katrielle Layton, who takes the lead. Because in this game, it starts off that the Professor's been missing for ages. The whole of the game you play as Katrielle and you get to solve mini mysteries.
Today's the day! My journey as a detective starts here!
It is a good game. I'm just starting straight off. Good game. Definitely worth it. And here's why. I will break it down into gameplay, story, and puzzles. But just to let you know, it's a good game, but it's not as good as what we're used to in the original series. So to begin, gameplay.
No, I specifically requested Professor Layton.
I will solve this case in my father's stead.
Playing as Katrielle, and she has a dog who talks with her, along with Ernest, and helps her out from time to time on these mysteries. So, to select a case, what you do, you put the magnifying glass on the clipboard, and you get to select your cases from that. So when you complete a case, you will unlock other puzzles in that area to go back to, and if you're missing any hint coins, then you can go and collect them because it tells you how many you've got in each area. There's no puzzle collector where they keep the puzzles as the mission moves on. You just go back after you've done a case and pick up the collecting puzzles. And there's a lot of overlapping environments. You'll go to the same environment a few times throughout the whole cases. The game basically plays out exactly what we're used to seeing in a Layton game. You have the magnifying glass and you point it around the screen and you click and it goes orange for a point of interest, and you can interact with characters in your environment, pick up hint coins to help you with puzzles, pick up collection items just for your own benefit. So that's pretty much exactly the same gameplay. You have the equivalent of the Professor's Trunk, where you can view mysteries in the game, and you have 3 mini games that when you complete them, you unlock extra content in the bonus section, usually harder puzzles. I think one of them is called Ideal Meal. You basically have to satisfy customers' requests with ingredients and recipes in restaurants. You have the passerby. You've got to sell all of the required items in a shop, basically appealing to consumer interest. So they walk through and pick up all the items. You have to intricately place the items where you want them to be for them to pick them up. And the last one is Hound and the Pound. You have to help a dog find his way to the goal by moving platforms. You also have daily puzzles that you can solve in the bonus section, 1 a day for a year. You unlock some points. When you get 100 points, you can go into the gallery section, which is where they reference the other Layton games, and you can choose which ones you want to unlock. So you can see like artwork or like cutscene animation, pictures or whatever. So that's a nice little tie-in that they've done. Also, another positive is the music. The soundtrack in this game is as good as always because the Layton games are really great when it comes to the soundtracks. This one is, some of the songs, they're not as memorable as what we're used to hearing, but the main theme tune is really, really good. Here's where it kind of slips a bit in my estimations for it, because the narrative, it's not like the other Layton games that we're used to seeing, where it's one continuous mystery that gradually unfolds together with twists and everything. They split it in this game into like separate cases. There's 12 cases that you have to do, but they don't really tie into each other. They're just sort of like separate. So, and they're quite small as well. Fun, but they're not. They do have the charm that Layton always has, but they don't link properly. So you don't really have much of a character development in there. because of that, when you get to the last, I think it's the last case, yeah, with it being a Layton game, there is an emotional twist at the end, as there always is, but because of the lack of development in the others, the payoff isn't as good. It's still sad, but it's not as good as what we're used to. Like, for example, what we're used to seeing at the end of Layton games are truly emotional subjects. The narrative, it is good. You basically play as Katrielle Layton, who she's lost her father, he's gone missing for a while, and it starts off with her having a nightmare about it.
Daddy? Where are you going? Daddy?
Quite good, in general, but not as good as what we used to see, and it's kind of a little bit, not let down, but I would have just preferred it to have been a bit more, tie it in a bit more. And because of them being small, they lack the epic climax. There's no epic climax whatsoever, because what we used to see at the end of the other Layton games is there's a huge twist where everything flips on its head and there's all drama, like whether that's a fight scene or like just life or death situations at the very end which grip you. It's very much a very light-hearted game, which is still good, but for me personally, I would have liked to have that drama. It's good, but a step back from what we're used to seeing. The final section is puzzles. Now, these are a mixed bag. Some of them are good, some of them are poorly translated, and some of them are really, really easy.
Interesting one. Puzzles are made for solving.
The puzzles for me, they weren't that great. They were alright. Some of them were great, but some of them were a bit not really feeling it. I don't know if it was rushed into production or something. So there's a couple of spelling errors there, but I don't know. Some of these puzzles, they're just weird puzzles. Obviously, they can't help it because the original creator of the puzzles, the amazing Akira Tago, died. Naturally, the puzzles aren't going to be as good, but obviously it does take a step back because of that. But it's still a worthy adventure game to play, mixed with really fun solving puzzles. I think there's 185 puzzles in total, which is the most that we've seen in a Layton game. But it is good. Now, other bonus content, you can go into the wardrobe section in the trunk where you can customise Katrielle's outfit by paying real money to unlock it. So, in short, it is a really good game, just not as good as what we would have liked it to have been. Out of 5, I'd probably give it maybe 3.5 out of 5, simply because of those drawbacks with the puzzles and the narrative. The gameplay is still strong as ever. It has a little bit of drama in there in places, but nothing on the scale that we're used to seeing. Which, yeah, is sort of a bit of a letdown, but it's interesting to see where they're going to take the series. It's retailing on the App Store for about $15.99, which is... It's expensive for an iOS/Android game, but the actual game itself plays out exactly like it would do on the 3DS. So you're essentially paying half the price than what you would be paying if you got it on the 3DS system. So you're saving yourself like quite a lot of money by getting it on a mobile device. So I strongly suggest doing it. If you're a fan of Layton, then you'll enjoy it. The animated cutscenes are amazing quality, exact same charm that the other Layton games have had. If you've never played it before, well, you'll still find some charm about it. It doesn't quite reach the same level of satisfaction as what we used to see in the original Layton series, but still a really good game, and has the charm. The music's still good as always. The mini games are still fun, but the puzzles slightly lack, and the narrative slightly lacks, but enough for it to get a satisfactory review. So, and they leave it open at the end of the narrative. Kat will be back. She will return. So hopefully they'll improve on what they've done on this game and make it better, and tie in the links about the missing professor. So, yeah, it's a good game, buy it.
The truth is always stranger than fiction.